the ghost pipe, Indian pipe, or the ghost plant, Monotropa uniflora. This is a wildflower in the Monotropaceae family. Hard to believe that something that looks like this is actually a wildflower, but it is. It is so incredibly fantastic when you find them, because you'll see quite a few in the area, usually, but not always. This wildflower is a mycotropic plant, meaning, well, let's break it down. Myco is fungus, and tropic means nutrition. Put it together, and that basically means this is fungus feeding. Now, the ghost pipe is not the only mycotropic plant. There are others. There's actually quite a few orchids. And there's the coral roots, sweet pine sap, and although it doesn't grow here, I know there's another one called the gnome plant. And if it does grow here, I'm not aware of it. And I don't mean here in this area that I'm at right now, I mean Southern Ontario. So if anybody's out there in Southern Ontario and you know whether the gnome plant grows in our province, I'd love to hear from you. Alrighty, so let's go over here because there's lots as well. As you can tell, obviously this is not a green plant. It has no chlorophyll. And, of course, it doesn't harness the sun's energy to produce carbohydrates. Or, basically, simply put, there is absolutely no photosynthesis happening here. There we go. So the ghost pipes take nutrients and carbohydrates from the tree roots through an intermediate source, mycorrhizal fungi, in the genre Russula and Lactarius. And because of this delicate balance, you cannot transplant these. Okay, I had to pause because Chance has been in some very healthy muck, and that means I'm going to have to go down the pathway here later and go back to the pond and get him cleaned up. Alright, so back to the ghost pipes. Now these are fascinating wildflowers, and they spend actually most of their lives underground. Only when they're ready to poke their heads up through the soil do they flower and go to seed. And I'm going to include some close-up images at the end of this video to show you what this flower really looks like. It is so amazing. These are perennial plants, and they're generally 10 to 30 centimeters tall. I'm on the ground. I'm going to put my camera on the ground so you can see. So this right here is about maybe 15 to 20 centimeters, which is 4 to 8 inches tall. The leaves, oh, this one isn't very good and I can't get to the side. Hang on. Uh-oh, he pummeled over some of my ghost pipes, because some of these are going to go home. Anyways, in here, let's see if I can, trying to focus, it's kind of difficult, but if you can see along the stems, there are what are categorically are called leaves. Come on, focus. But these leaves are actually, they're kind of scale-like. Very unusual. Now, these can be found in small clusters like this, or in smaller individual, well, there's two there. Ah, look at that. Here's some new flowers coming up. Check that out. That's so cool. There we go. There. Now, these are actually native to North America, and you'll always find them in deep, shady woods, and usually at low to moderate elevations. I don't think these grow in the Rocky Mountains, and if anybody is watching this who lives in the Rocky Mountains, if these grow there, please let me know in the comments below. These also grow in Central and South America, as well as in Asia. Now, as you've noticed, I think that's about it, because this is where all this black muck starts. And over there is where Chance got into the muck. So you can tell that this area here is very healthy in terms of soil quality. Okay. The stem. Oh, and this is, of course, what I'll be using to take some home. It is somewhat translucent, white, and I guess sometimes it depends on the lighting, but sometimes you can actually detect a bit of palish, pinkish, white. And if you look really close, although with this lighting it's not easy, there's black flecks, or speckled black. And usually that's always on the flower stalks. Alrighty. Now, these are actually pollinated by bees. And I do believe that flies are also pollinators for the ghost pipe. The big question now, are these edible? Well, according to Plant for a Future, this entire plant can be cooked. And they actually say that if this was consumed raw, it's rather tasteless. And they put a comparison to asparagus in terms of flavor. I've not tried this myself to let you know whether it is or it is not. Ghost pipes contain andromedotoxins, and if I'm saying that right, I'm not sure. I will have to put a link to my own website to show you what that word is. But anyways, this plant contains it, and this is why we have to consume it in moderation. But according to the University of Bristol, our digestive system can break down this toxin into harmless compounds. But like most things that we do in life, if we eat too much, then it's always a bad thing. And that is, I mean, anything. Think about it. Figs, dates, alcohol. Moderation is key. Now, I want to talk about the medicinal factors of these. This is a nervine. So, before I go any further, if you choose to investigate this plant for medicinal purposes, and to actually go one step further and use it for medicinal purposes, please never do that unless you seek advice from a qualified health professional. That is so incredibly important. This was used by First Nations, Native Americans, because it treated pain, both physical and emotional. It's a sedative. It helps to control anxiety, panic attacks, even insomnia. Is useful in treating muscle spasms, nervousness, agitation. Oh, lots of forest garbage here. Migraines, fevers, and infections. Now, this is called a fit plant, as it has anti-convulsant, that's it, properties. And this has been used to treat seizures and epilepsy. But please, once again, never, never, never take this into your own hands. Always seek qualified health advice if wanting to use these for medicinal purposes. Very, very important. Okay, so now the big question, how to harvest. Great care is needed when harvesting these, because they are attached to mycorrhizal associations. As a result, you don't want to be ripping these out of the ground. You will be probably harming their ability to come back year after year. And as you can see, this area doesn't really have a whole heck of a lot. There's only a few. So the best way to use these, you can dry these out and use them to make a sedative tea. And you can make a tincture. And apparently the tincture will turn purple. This is where I'm going to end this part. I'm going to gather some right now. Actually, maybe what I'll do... Oh, there we go. Let's see. This is very difficult. Sorry, everybody. So what I'm going to do, I take my knife. I'm not going to take all of them. I'm just going to cut them like that and put them into my container. And there we go. Those pipes. Not quite finished yet. I have a couple of poems about these that I want to share, and of course a couple of images, close-ups of the flowers.